Part 14. Text come. Okay, there's text. Oops. I need. Oh, wait. Okay. And I need to get to the right verses. Okay. Let me adjust them so you can see the ones on the bottom. Not just anyone, but someone asked, and not your king has need of it. This was going back from here when you sent the colt from Bethphage to for Jesus to ride on. You'll find it tied to a post out, not a door, but a post in the street. And as they untied it, a male asked them, "Now, what are you doing untying my colt? But why are you untying my colt?" And they told him, just as Jesus told them, and he gave him his permission. There's not much needed there for changing. Okay, now here, they put a hide on it, not a garment. So they put, because the summer solstice is it's like the height of the sun. So it's summertime. So someone took off a hide, their top or whatever, and laid it on there to set for him to set. So I was thinking, should I say a blanket or whatever? But they put a garment, but it has garments on it. But it was just a hide, and it would have been the top that somebody was wearing, and it looks like I'm going to have one of the disciples put their top on it, and Jesus to sit on. And many people were spreading their garments on the road, their hides. So I need to put this here. I'm going to leave the word hide as a why is that word being used later. And the others placed leafy branches. Again, leafy branches cut from small palms. They have a lot of needles on them. People, if they think it's the small date palm trees. So if they're placed in leafy branches, that's not really true either. You don't want the animal to be tripping or stumbling. So you can't just have everybody put them in perfect order if they were putting them out there. So this verse, even though it's here in the ending text, it will be throwing leaves or things that they could pick from the maybe grass or whatever, and just throw it up in the air and it comes and spread down before them. But I think the text even says even after him they were putting it as well, but he's already, they're probably before only. But, oh yeah, here, and those who followed after him were shouting, blessed is Jesus who was sent by YV. Now they know you don't need this word, this just another word they added that means has no meaning but for their female goddess. But the object is they were saying that blessed is he. They knew who he was, Jesus, and then saying who he was sent by YV. They were all expecting Jesus, his Holy One, was to be sent to Jerusalem. So this is the announcement that he's the prophecy from our Creator is coming true, and this is what this celebration was about. They realized that he is their king, okay? Now come to here, blessed is his kingdom, blessed is his coming kingdom. And you can see down here how I've highlighted each of the words. Our kingdom, our father, of our father David, was on the highest. Now, I could use the word highest as meaning Jesus was the highest male from the Israeli nation, because he was the most obedient one that followed all our Creator's laws and statutes and commandments. But all this doesn't need to be said as well. And it's not, this word would have been promised from or promised to our father David, but they all aren't David relations, so just get rid of all that stuff. Jesus entered Jerusalem, and he went to his gate, not temple. Never is it a temple. It's not a sanctuary. Our Creator had Moses built, listen to this, a tent for meeting with him, okay? If you don't understand that the meeting with him is about forgiveness of sin, you got no idea what all this other stuff is. A temple, though, in the Hebrew text, is where they put the idols of a foreign god. And even today, they still have the stuff of Zeus and Athena and stuff in Greece, and those are called temples. This is no relationship. You idiot Christians are still calling it a temple. Get with the program, become a true believer and true trusting in our Creator, and realize Jesus never called it a temple or a sanctuary, and our Creator never named it that way. So that just bugs the heck out of me how stupid Christians are today. Went to his gate. Now, he went to the gate of the courtyard, okay? And he didn't need to be after looking around. This is just text that doesn't need to be said. He knew where he was at. So why would he be looking around anywhere? Then he departed to Bethany with his 12, because now they're telling him it was too late to do anything. But the object is that when he entered into Jerusalem, there he was, and there he was by the gate. He went to his gate, which would have been, let me show you here. See how they have the word temple? But this isn't, I don't believe this is the correct drawing of it. Notice the building in the inside here with the opening to the east. No, that isn't correct. It is to open to the south. What our Creator described to Moses to build his tent. The tent was, I think, 20 by 30 cubics. And to enter into the holy rooms, he had curtains with an opening on the south side. So you'd have to have the door facing the south as well. So there is the truth. So this drawing of everything to the east, that is for the female goddess. And there wouldn't have had any of these other things around here. It's all specific how big this building is, or his house is, or was, and how big the courtyard around it. was supposed to be 100 cubics by 100 cubics by 100 cubics by 100 cubics by 100 cubics. So this, they might have changed it to 200 by 200, but I don't think that would be needed. The house was made larger, and then what you have is only the courtyard. You have things there, the 13 altars that they were had fire pans next to, where they had shovels and buckets to remove the ashes um, after the offering. What else did they had? They had wood stacked up for the burning. Fire pans were actually like lamps lit for the fire, for they would go over and put underneath or start the burning of the offering. There is not much more needed in this area. So now you know more truth than probably been told. But the next day, they left from Bethany. Okay, so I should have showed that as well. What they're saying is they went all the way back here. So this is supposed to be 2 miles away. Okay. Oh, it says 1 mile wide. Oh, it says this is all 1 mile. I thought it was 2 miles away. I thought the text said 2 miles. But anyways, they're saying this is all 1 mile. Oh no, this length is 1 mile. So yeah, about 2 miles if you do the windy road. So this fig tree at a distance, you come and found it, and it was not. This is a lie. Let me show you why it's a lie. I guess I can't. I'm just realizing that, but the text does say that he would not tear off even a broken reed from a reed if it had broken, that he'd go over and tear it off, that he wouldn't do this. So he surely wouldn't have done any of this. Okay. They got Jesus countering what our Creator prophesy about him. Or a burning wick he would not even snuff out with his fingers, put it out so it's out. So if this is not true. And so he went into Jerusalem and he entered his courtyard, not the temple, because the temple has no windows, okay? And let me show you something about that text, because it's very interesting. Once you know what's going on here. Where would I find this that I want to proudly show? And that is the tent. When they made the tent, you have to replace one word. Ta-da, there it is. Okay. When you go to Exodus, yeah, you can see that Exodus 26. Down here, they have the word bars. But if you change it to arches, you now have a, whoops, let me get rid of me here for a second. You have what is actually the tent meeting's roof, where you see it flat and the extra hide is all stuck over like an extra siding to it. No, that's because they don't know that this exists. They never figured it out, that the text here just changed the word bars to arches. That's not the other side. And for the middle, you needed a third one in the middle. So it's a hip roof. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces 5 bars, you make 5 arches, or it'll be 5 boards for the middle. So anyways, it's going to be the word 5, 5 boards for one side of the tabernacle for the tent. So you have 3 of these, okay? And this is the truth down here. So now you know what the actual house and tent look like for the roof. Amazing that just they lied one time, and you can, if you change it, ta-da, first time in probably a very, very long time, anybody knows what the roof of the tent in the house for meeting with our Creator looks like, which means there was no windows on the tent except for that opening on the south side. So the thing here is um, he has to go into the courtyard and cast them out that were buying and selling. If you look at the dimensions of the house, and those dimensions are inside dimensions for the block, so now you can figure out a lot of things. In fact, even the size of the doors that are on the house. Once you understand what a cubic is and how it measured out, you can figure out how many blocks actually were needed to do the 4 walls to have an opening. And it's actually only the largest block was needed was above the doors, the one that was able for the doors. So the thing there is he went into the courtyard. He never went into the house for our Creator. There cannot be there's no lights in there for him. In fact, that's where they kept all the a lot of things. They kept their horns for blowing for the season. They kept some of the poles that were used to carry the items. They were supposed to be made of gold or gold covering. The plates, the knives, the stuff for bringing the stuff to kill the animal, and then the plates to carry those offerings into the courtyard. So those things would have been in that area. So you have to think of cupboard space that would have been needed for them. It gets awfully small in there. You try to set up a sales, it just doesn't make any sense. Start thinking, Christians. Yeah, you just tick me off. You think every word in the Bible is true. And I don't know how many times I point out something very truthful. I get called a heretic. Like they can't answer, like, okay, I can see your point. Every word in the Bible is true. He went into the temple. I said, that's a pagan's keep. And I would show them a verse. What was it? When the ark was placed in front of, what was it? The Philistines, the idol, in their temple. So, but it was in the courtyard where he did all the overturning of the merchant changers and those who were selling items. They were selling items. They weren't just selling doves. Would you sell a dove? Because doves are a food that they could eat, but it was items that they were selling. It was a place, not a den of robbers, but well, it was not robbers, but merchants. Okay, so that would have to be changed, and he would not to permit anyone to carry their goods through the temple. There's only one door. I mean, this is just stupidity. Carry goods. Why? He's kicking them out. Okay. My house it will be called a house for forgiving, not prayer, not prayer. You don't pray to get forgiven. They were brought offerings for forgiving, to be forgiven, forgiven. And all the priests will make it into a marketplace. That's what was just described. Not a robber's den, but a marketplace. Okay? So let's be truthful with the text. Let's go through what other thing. The priest and elders, the elders would have been wanting to discuss how they killed him, not because the elders are involved with the high priest. So, and the elders there, I should say, and the elders, there, because I don't want to have everybody come from all the tribe lands and discuss this, but the elders there at that time began not seeking but discussed how they could kill him, not destroy him. They were talking about killing him because he was in Jerusalem already and the crowd was getting bigger. So it wasn't about being destroy him. That's what they tried to trick him other ways, but they were trying to kill him. How they could kill him. Need more background because this is only all the timing that he's in Jerusalem is before actually the summer solstice day. He is crucified the day before the first day of the year, but the object is that it's these days before. How long was he there? When the text gets put together, it will be about 7 days. I think under our creator's hidden formats, there's one that says 8 days and another 7 days. But the object is that this is how long they were in there. So they had there was this timing of destroy him. No, they were trying to kill him. They were going to try to kill him. Have to set up the text for why the high priest calls them together and decides what day they are going to kill him. How come this is here? I guess, anyways, the crowd was astonished at his teaching. Well, the crowd came with him. The crowd would have came with him the second day, but because they were afraid of his crowd and astonished at his teaching. What did he teach so far? Nothing. Okay. There's no text that says that he was teaching yet. And he wasn't really teaching nothing. He was teaching his gospel. When evening came, they left Jerusalem. Okay. Now they're going out of Jerusalem again. Okay. Now they saw the fig tree again. They didn't see it on the way in, but they seen it, oh, yep. Now they're coming back and they're seeing the fig tree and died. This would not have happened. A dim wick he would not have put out. Have trusted, well, I mean, not faith, but trust. Whoever says to a hill, be uprooted and be cast into the sea, as if they have no doubt in their heart, like me, you have to have it like Jesus. So the thing here is I have yet to see anybody say, let this hill become up and move. So I know it's literally the words, but the object is that, example, I have yet to see a prophet or anyone heal people by the touch or anything that Jesus did has ever happened since Jesus did these things. So it's kind of like Jesus is saying that um, what he is doing, you have to have a full, no doubt in your heart, like him, to be able to do these things. And by the way, you're not supposed to test our Creator. So what they say will happen. Yeah, and what will happen? And this is referring to doing a miracle or a healing. Okay. Now, some people might want to say this hill is a problem. Okay. I don't see it that way. Everything you petition, Jesus would not use the word prayer or pray. A petition is to ask. When you pray, you are speaking to our Creator as you would to ask Him for help or guidance. But to ask for help somebody that's going through some trouble or somebody who is sick and you're asking them to help heal them, those are petitions. They don't teach you these things. You have to understand the text are saying what these words are saying. Because Jesus said, when you believe you have already received them, okay, you petition for them and they will be granted to you. I can't say that these words are absolute truth. They'll happen to everybody. So your petitions just aren't granted. I mean, I think everybody would ask, like, let me have as many dollars as I ever will need in my lifetime. And I want 20 times as much as that. Okay. This just doesn't happen. So what you're asking to receive, are these petitions have to be then answered. So, whenever you stand praying for his forgiveness, this is being used correctly. But there are two things about this stand and I have kneel for. I have the word kneel for because when Solomon was petitioning our Creator after they had built the house for our Creator, our meeting with our Creator, he looked to heaven, fell to his knees with his hands spread open, and he petitioned our Creator. So if you're petitioning to your Creator, our Creator by kneeling, I'm expecting the same thing would happen for praying. Okay. Now, do you need to pray on your knees all the time? No, don't get me that way. But when you are doing it this way, ask for his forgiveness because you are to give respect to him and honor him when you have to show you're asking for his forgiveness. Or if you have anything against anyone, that your Father in heaven will forgive you of your evil, not your transgressions, but your evil. These mean that there's added text here from another book? No. This is just, you are to understand, though, that you are being judged how you are judged, how you judge. So, and it's forgive your evil. And then he went into Jerusalem to his house, and the elders came up to him and asked him, okay, now see, this should have went with the story when he came out of the courtyard, okay? And I'm sure that when I go put the text together, that's would have been the next thing that happened. He wouldn't have went and then come back. So the thing here is this text would have been, because the tribe's priest would have had homes near this courtyard, The high priest has a larger home and has a courtyard there, but these guys were around quite easily. So as they were hanging out in their little group, wherever they were there, they heard about what was going on. People ran in panic, like, "Hey, we don't have a market. That crazy guy that they brought in like the other day or came into Jerusalem, he's really upsetting the stuff." So this is what he's asking, or they're going to ask him, whose authority, not what authority, not but whose authority. They want to know who told him he could do this. Okay, not what authority, whose authority. Was it the Romans' authority you could do this? Was it your own authority? So whose authority do you have to do these things you did? You did. um, but I'm putting it in as text that it is the next day, okay, because that's what the text says. Um, who gave you this authority to do those things? Yeah, see, this was being asked one way, what? And the other one is or who gave you authority to do these things you do? So I just used this one and I corrected it, although I should have just put this one down and kept this text, but it doesn't matter. It still comes out the same. And Jesus is saying, if you answer me, because they aren't really uh, going to, well, I put the word if here, and I know it was for a good reason. And I will tell you whose authority I do these things. Hey, I forgot to put me back in the picture, but um, been a while. Hi. uh, okay. I don't think there's much more explaining than what I did. From YV, like baptism, John come from heaven. Well, who's in heaven? Well, our Creator's in heaven, or men. And Jesus doesn't need to say, "Now answer me." And they reason among themselves, if we say from heaven, because this is where, remember, these are the Jews of the Israelis. These are Jews that are meditating, having sex with the female goddess. And they don't believe in our Creator. So I left it as from heaven, meaning this existence of heaven, not that. See, I don't have it as our Creator's heaven. I didn't make this all capitals like here. He said, and he will say, "Why did you not believe him?" If we say from men, we will be rebuked by his. We will be afraid, not afraid, but rebuked by his crowd, for they consider John his prophet, as his prophet. Because I have to be speaking for like a non-believer when I'm writing this. So it had to be considered John as his prophet. And notice how they have to put the word indeed, and that doesn't need to be added there either. Boy, there's a lot in this. Okay, it's all on the window. Hmm, maybe that'll help make the text smaller. What authority do I do these things? Neither will I tell you. Doesn't need to say that. But he does by giving them a parable. So he's going to do this pretty much in a different way or meaning here. A male planted and not put, but built a fence around it. So he's planted, because the thing here is the vineyard is going to represent the house for our Creator, where they are to grow good grapes, and this knowledge is supposed to be spreading around the people. And then put a wall or fence around it. This would have been a fence, not a wall like it is for the house for our Creator. He's trying to do a parable, so he's not going to say the exact same words. And he dug a vat under a wet built in a tower. All this is this is not needed. Then he rented out the vine to vine, not growers, but pruners. These guys are the ones trimming and making sure that the light of the word is received by the grapes, for the grapes to become full grown and have more sweetness. If it's in the shadow more, it becomes sour. Your grapes become sour. And then at harvest time, he sent a servant, because it's either, they added the word harvest, because here they would have the text, if the text would have went about wine, this I would have had to leave in. But the harvest time sent servants in order to receive, okay, to receive, and to receive produce. No, we know what's on a vine, grapes, okay, from the grape pruners, the ones who were assigned there. Okay. Now, and he's going to go on, and he's going to talk about he sent somebody and they sent him away empty-handed. And then he sent another, not a slave, but a servant. We are servants for our Creator. And they treated him badly and sent him away. They didn't need to say he wounded him on the head or anything, but he just and treated him shamefully. I treated him badly and sent him away. So he sent more. One they killed, others they beat. Okay, it's got some killed others, but that's beside the point. Just going through things that's not really needed. Then he sent his son, for he thought they would respect him. He wasn't saying it. It was his thinking that led him into they will respect his son, because he's kind of given them the shadow of the doubt that the ones that he's sending were false in going and asking. But the pruners said to one another, he is the inheritor, the one who is supposed to inherit this act of forgiveness. Okay, so this is specifically another parable which Jesus is using the word inheritor as example of our Creator's promise that he is supposed to be king for everyone on earth after he enters into heaven. So, but it's the inheritor of forgiving. But we're all relating this to what goes on in the courtyard and outside, just around the outside of the courtyard, why it was built. And then they'll get the inheritance, meaning that we've changed so many things. This is ours. We don't care if he's asking for not. Our Creator's coming asking, because that's really who the master is. Inherits. And they took and killed him and threw his body, not him, out of the courtyard, but threw his body out of the courtyard. You have to have him dead. So it's going to be his body. He's not in the body anymore. He is dead. Then he says, what will they do when he comes home? Okay. Will he not destroy? Will he not remove the pruners and rent out the vineyard to others? Now, this is speaking to Jesus's disciples and others that came after him, calling to inform everybody else around the world for the rest of the time what happened there and to teach Jesus's gospel. Okay, here it's not a scripture, it's written, and I've got it this way here. The block which the builders rejected. I'm not using stone because it is not built. The house that's for meeting with him is not made out of stone, made out of blocks, granite blocks. So became the master corner block. And that's true with most buildings. They do make one building to even today to start creating everything from it. I worked in the automotive industry, and cars, to be able to build the car out correctly, they try to use a precise location, and it'll be called a six-way, and then as they go out, they're called four-ways, and then if it gets out too far, it's called a two-way, and then they'll put another part onto it with another six-way, trying to establish less error throughout the build, so cars have even gaps on the doors and such. But the object is came about by their Lord, and it's marvelous in our eyes. So Jesus is telling them that actually that it's you guys who are rejecting me, and this came about by your Lord, or I could have used by your Creator, and it is marvelous in our eyes. So, yes, the text I'll get into is when they're now going to speak about arresting him, but I think I've gone far enough.